Hello and welcome to the classes of Vedic astrology. So today I want to discuss on a very important topic. Again, this particular topic many people have a misconception about. Many people have a wrong information about, and there is a lot of fear involved with this particular topic. Whenever a particular person comes across this particular phrase or this particular topic, that particular person has a lot of anxiety, fear, or kind of wrong notions, and this is what I want to completely remove in today's class. So welcome to the classes of Vedic astrology, and today I want to discuss about the topic of Kaal, Sarp, Dosh. And what is this Kaal, Sarp, Dosh that many people they talk about? You might be seeing a lot of videos on the internet about this Kaal, Sarp, Dosh. See, as per the science, as per the scriptures, as per the knowledge of Vedic astrology, there is nothing as such as Kaal, Sarp, Dosh. There is no dosh as such, all right? There is nothing known as Kaal, Sarp, Dosh. There is nothing that it's not discussed anywhere in Vedic astrology, like whatever I know about. So, but still, there is some technical points that I want to discuss, that because of which many people they use the phrase, they use the term Kaal, Sarp, Dosh, and people gets a bit afraid. They have a lot of fear whenever they come across this particular phrase. So what this Kaal, Sarp, Dosh is all about? So basically what I first of all I have already cleared it out in a very clear way. I have already stated it out that as per Vedic astrology, there is no dosh as Kaal, Sarp, Dosh, because Vedic astrology is the first astrology, the most accurate astrology, and it's the most ancient astrology, all right? It goes thousands and thousands of years ago, and at that time there has nothing been talked or written as Kaal, Sarp, Dosh in a particular Lagna chart. What nowadays practitioners or nowadays people they actually refer is about a certain placement of planets in a particular Lagna chart. They say that if there are certain placements like this, if a particular of the planets are placed in this particular manner, in a certain manner, then there is this Kaal, Sarp, Dosh. So I want to clear that out. I want to define that. I want to bring that out in today's class so that you will understand what exactly it is. See, basically I want to first of all unfold to you that there are two dosh. If you want to use the word Kaal, Sarp, or if you want to use the word whenever it comes about Rahu. See, Kaal, Sarp, Dosh is basically talks about Rahu and Ketu, primarily Rahu and Ketu, and all other planets involving Rahu and Ketu placement wise in a particular Lagna chart. And whenever if you want to talk about Kaal, Sarp, Dosh, there is also this concept known as Kaal Mrita Dosh, Kalmrita, Kaal Mrita. That is what is, that's a particular phrase that they use, that practitioner use. Now Kaal, Sarp, first we have to understand that when people talk about it, they say that such kind of dosh happen when Rahu and Ketu are placed. First of all, Rahu and Ketu are always placed 180 degrees opposite to each other in a Lagna chart. But when all the other 7 planets, they come on one side of this Rahu and Ketu line, they say it is a Kaal, Sarp, Dosh. But it is not such. Even technicality wise also it is wrong. This particular knowledge is wrong. That is what I want to clear it out in today's class. If you want to go technicality wise, there are two such formations, there are two such conditions that is forming. Kaal, Sarp, Dosh only forms when Rahu is placed anywhere from the first house to the 6th house of the Lagna chart, and Ketu is placed opposite to that, and all the other planets, that is the 7 planets, should be placed on one side of Rahu and Ketu. then technicality wise, it seems like, it looks like there is Kaal Sarp Dosh. But this is the condition. The planet Rahu needs to be placed somewhere between the first house and the sixth house. If Rahu is placed anywhere else, ninth house, 10th house, 12th house, 11th house, 8th house, then there will not be Kaal Sarp Dosh, even if the planets are on one side of Rahu and Ketu. If you want to technicality wise call it as a Kaal Sarp Dosh, then again I'm repeating the same thing. Rahu needs to be placed anywhere from the first house to the sixth house, Ketu being placed opposite to Rahu, and all of the other 7 planets needs to be on one side. And when I say on one side, completely they need to be on one side of Rahu and Ketu. That I will again discuss with examples so that you will understand what I am talking about in a practical way. And Kaal Mrita Dosh is when Ketu is placed anywhere from the first house and the sixth house, and Rahu is placed opposite to it. All right, this is Kaal, is completely opposite if you talk about the placement from Kaal Sarp Dosh wise. So in Kaal Mrita Dosh, Ketu needs to be placed anywhere between first house to sixth house, and Rahu placed opposite to that, and all of the other 7 planets needs to be on one side of Rahu and Ketu. Then we say that it is a Kaal Mrita Dosh. Technicality wise, talk wise, Kaal Mrita Dosh is not as inauspicious as Kaal Sarp Dosh. All right, this you have to keep in mind. Now let's understand, when I say all of the 7 planets, they need to be on one side of Rahu and Ketu. I want to unfold that with some examples. Now suppose in one particular horoscope, in one particular Lagna chart, I'm not naming this, but it can be any Lagna lot. Let's just understand placement, house-wise placement. Let's first understand an example of Kaal Mrita Dosh. Suppose in the 5th house, Ketu is placed. In the 6th house, Saturn is placed. In the 7th house, Jupiter and Sun is placed. In the 9th house, Mercury is placed. In the 10th house, Moon and Mars are placed. In the 11th house, Rahu and Venus are placed. Now, Rahu is having 7 degrees, Venus is having 23 degrees. So whatever I had said, I hope you have drawn it in your notepad so that you will be able to understand. No need to understand sign wise, Lagna Lord wise, because this particular concept we need to understand house wise, placement wise. All right, because whatever I am saying will be applicable for any Lagna charts. Now if Rahu is having 7 degrees, Venus is having 23 degrees, and Rahu and Venus are placed in the 11th house. So even if you look wise, you will see that yes, Rahu and Ketu are on one side. Ketu is placed in the 5th house. So here it is forming a Kaal Mrita Dosh as per the technicality. Rahu and it means on one side of Rahu and Ketu, all the 7 planets are placed. When you look at it, it seems so, but see, you have to understand it degree wise. Rahu is having 7 degrees. Venus is having 23 degrees. And both are placed in the 11th house. So Venus is going above Rahu. Venus is crossing Rahu, right? So Venus, so technicality wise, what happens is Rahu and Ketu on one side, all of the 6 planets on one side of Rahu and Ketu, but Venus is going outside that particular range. It is crossing that Rahu and Ketu line. All right. So this will not form Kaal Mrita Dosh. There is no such dosh. The Kaal Mrita technicality will not happen, will not occur in this particular horoscope. Even if Rahu and Venus, Ketu, and look wise, it seems so. But degree wise, Venus is crossing Rahu because planets move anti-clockwise. So in the 11th house, first will be Rahu, and above that, crossing Rahu will be Venus, because Venus has 23 degrees, Rahu has 7 degrees. Even if Venus had 8 or 9 or 10 degrees, then also Venus would had been crossing Rahu. So in this situation, Kaal Mrita Dosh will not form all right, as per whatever technical understanding such kind of Kaal Amrita Dosh holds, all right. Now let's look at one more example. Suppose in one particular Lagna chart, Rahu and Moon are placed in the 4th house. Jupiter is placed in the 5th house. Mercury is placed in the 6th house. Saturn and Venus are placed in the 7th house. Sun is placed in the 8th house. Ketu and Mars are placed in the 10th house. So here you will find, okay, Rahu is situated in the 4th house. Ketu is opposite to Rahu. So in technicality, this is forming a Kaal Sarp Dosh because all of the planets are on one side of Rahu and Ketu. Now let's understand it degree wise. Suppose in this particular Lagna chart, Rahu has 10 degrees and Moon has 5 degrees. All right. So here planets are moving anti-clockwise. So first will be Moon, then will be Rahu. So Moon is crossing that line of Rahu and Ketu. So here also there will not be any Kaal Sarp Dosh because Moon is being on the other side. All right. If all these 6 planets are on one side of Rahu and Ketu, but Moon is not in that particular, on that particular side. Moon is above the line of Rahu and Ketu. So here also degree wise we need to understand, even if 2 planets are on the same place, is in the same house. That's in the previous example we have understood about Rahu and Venus. And in this particular Lagna chart, we are understanding about Rahu and Moon. In previous example, Venus was crossing the line. Here in this example, Moon is above the line of Rahu and Ketu. So here also Kaal Sarp Dosh will not form. So technicality, if you want to understand whether this Kaal Amrita Dosh or Kaal Sarp Dosh is occurring in the Vedic astrology horoscope in the Lagna chart or not. So such kind of points you also need to consider, also need to analyze and interpret. Now I want to tell you is what's the use of this, and I just told you because knowledge wise you need to know, for information wise you need to know, because whatever I am sharing will cover all the necessary information that Vedic astrology holds very, very important. So this particular topics, even though it is not nowhere mentioned in Vedic astrology, but as many people talk about it, so that's why I found it that you should be aware about it in a correct way, in a proper way, in an accurate way. You should be aware of it. So if there is a Kaal Sarp Dosh, because even I said Kaal Amrita Dosh is not as inauspicious as Kaal Sarp Dosh, even if technicality wise, if you see in a particular horoscope a proper Kaal Sarp Dosh means placement wise it is happening. Then also see, you have to understand individually whether Rahu and Ketu, the same thing you have to apply here also, whether Rahu and Ketu, which of those planets are Yoga Karka, which of those planets are Maraka. See, whatever I am saying is completely based on my knowledge and my belief, and whatever I believe, whatever I know, whatever I have learned, whatever I have understood, I am sharing it with you. All right. Then it is up to you to decide whether you want to understand, follow somebody else's words, or you want to follow whatever I am saying in this particular class regarding this particular topic. All right. So if technicality wise, even if some such kind of dosh is happening, all right, then also you have to understand, as I was saying, individually the placement of Rahu and Ketu, individually the status of Rahu and Ketu. If Rahu and Ketu are Maraka, then you have to do the Vedic astrological remedies for Rahu and Ketu. If Rahu and Ketu are Yoga Karka, and if you find that there are certain kind of problems occurring, that it is not at all necessary it is occurring because of this dosh, it can be a lot of other aspects also, right? There are 9 planets involved, not only Rahu and Ketu. excluding Rahu and Ketu, there are 7 planets. All right. So if there are problems happening in your life, it is not necessary that Rahu and Ketu or things, Dosh, whatever it is associated with Rahu and Ketu is only happening or not. For that, a very proper, detailed and thorough analysis of a Lagna chart, of a horoscope, of everything associated with that Lagna chart needs to be done. So, as I was saying, Vedic astrological remedies for Rahu and Ketu needs to be done. If you want to improve that strength, the Yoga Karka effects of Rahu and Ketu, if you want to decrease the Maraka effects, then you can wear Rudraksh, you can do Bij Mantra, and you can especially do Dan, but it has to be done only when Rahu or Ketu or Rahu and Ketu are Maraka. Dan only and only needs to be done when planets are Maraka, and it has to be done during that planet's Mahadasha or Antardasha. Alright. So even if Rahu and Ketu are inauspicious or any inauspicious formations are happening because of Rahu and Ketu, you have to understand that throughout your life, Rahu and Ketu will not give disturbance. Rahu and Ketu, if they are Maraka, whichever of these 2 planets are Maraka, will give its inauspicious effects only during its dashas, that is Mahadasha or Antardasha. For the rest of the time period, you don't have to worry about Rahu and Ketu if they have no such significance Vedic astrology wise, Mahadasha, Antardasha wise, right, in your life. You have to see, you have to focus on the planets whose mainly Mahadasha is going, and the next important thing is Antardasha is going, because I had already discussed it multiple number of times in my previous classes. Mahadasha and Antardasha, these 2 dashas, they contribute to 90% in an individual's life. When I talk about planetary effects, the remaining three dashas, Pratyantar Dasha, Sukshma Dasha and Pran Dasha, they have very small amount of effect in that individual's life, because time period wise, those dashas, those 3 dashas, especially Sukshma Dasha and Pran Dasha, they are very, very small and limited. So planetary effects will not be understood, because every now and then the planetary movement will change. Only for Mahadasha and Antardasha, a planet's effect on an individual's life, they stays for a long period of time, and the longest is Mahadasha. For how many years? That also I have made a separate topic about the subject of Mahadashas of all the 9 planets in detail. I have discussed and I have talked about it in one of my previous class. So I have completely discussed about certain misconception, you will say certain misinformation. If in case it is there, if you are watching it, if you have such misconception, misinformation, I believe whatever I have discussed in today's class will clear that out. Now it is up to you what you want to decide. If you want to follow some others' words, you can follow, or if you want to follow my teachings related to this particular topic I'm talking about, then you follow my teachings. It is completely up to you. I believe what I say. I completely believe, I completely am aware of whatever I am saying. So definitely I will teach, I will discuss, I will share knowledge which I know, which I am aware of, which I am educated at. So I hope you have understood technicality wise what is such Dosh, Kaal Mrita and Kaal Sarp Dosh. And also in Vedic astrology, this Dosh is nowhere mentioned. There is no such Dosh as Kaal Sarp or Kaal Mrita. So this is what I wanted to discuss in today's class. Again, I just want to end today's video with a repeat of my reminder. That is, I hope you are watching all of my classes, all of my previous classes, and that too in detail. Don't even skip one particular class, because if you are skipping one class, you are missing out on an entire topic. And if you are missing out on an entire topic, then you are not completely learning Vedic astrology. If you're missing out on multiple topics, I don't think I have to point it out separately. So you have to learn all the topics starting from class 1, and you have to learn in detail. Even if you are not able to understand whatever I am saying in one particular watch of this particular class or any of my previous classes, then watch my videos over and over again. It's very normal that if you are not able to understand whatever I'm saying in one particular go, all right? So whatever part you're not able to understand, you pause it, again you play it back, pause it, again you play it back, or best you play the entire video one more time, so that whatever you have learned, it will be a kind of a revision for you, and whatever points you are getting stuck, it will slowly clear out, and you will start to understand it in the way I'm trying to make you understand. All right. And you have to watch all of my classes starting from class 1 and then proceed step by step. Go to class 2, then go to class 3, and in this particular way cover all of the classes in a particular sequence. Go step by step, then only you will be able to understand whatever I am saying, whatever I am sharing, whatever I am teaching in a very crystal and in a very complete way. You will be able to understand. And whatever you are able to understand, you will be able to practice it immediately while watching my videos. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my videos, share my videos, and if you have any doubts, any queries, any questions related to the topics of Vedic astrology, that is whatever I am sharing in my YouTube channel, in my Vedic astrology classes, please share them in the comment section. That is your doubts, queries, questions, and I will definitely try to answer them. All right. Take care, and I will see you in the next class.